unclear communication. And I think all of those issues that you've highlighted would be mitigated through simple and direct communication.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
But again, Oliver, then we have this issue, yeah, that again, you have the coders and the software developers. They are so in love with the product, they're so in love with the technology, they so in love that now they want to incorporate AI, and all what they really want, and then they go out there and all they're looking is for funding. They're looking for money to the investor to keep writing the code, to keep writing the software. It's somehow the word MVP, minimum viable product, very easy in this industry. Everybody forget about this M. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody when you have
Yeah.
coders and software developer in the space, oh, this M of MVP, they forget about this M and all that they're doing. And if they don't find the money out there, then we remortgage the house. They will ask money from friend and family, whatever
Yeah.
it takes. But because they love this writing the code, they love the product, and uh, so and then again, all of a sudden, the whole thing collapsed, and it's sad because they use the money from their own personal capital. They use money from family and friends, and they want to skip without knowing the natural process of growing a tech of growing a tech company. So how important do you think that is coaching and mentoring in this space? How important is to find someone like you that you come from the other space? Yeah, I don't know your background, by the way. I don't know you can be software developer or not, but this is what we find out in this podcast, that most of the tech millionaires that have come to this podcast, very little percentage are software developers. And those ones that are software developers, they come to this podcast and they spend the whole time speaking about sales, marketing, how to set the product, when the next release is gonna come. I'm speaking with those guys. I say, guys, you don't look like software developer to me. You said that you're a programmer and you came to a podcast and you spend the whole hour talking about sales, marketing, how people gonna buy the product and so on. So you don't look so what is it, Oliver? It's not that
Yeah.
I think it's a misconception. People see the Mark Zuckerberg and the Google guys, and I don't know. Well, Steve Jobs was not
Yeah.
even a developer. Was so people see those software developers, geeks, and that they become a gazillion, multimillionaire, and the software developers might think that they can get there, and of course they can, but they have to make a massive shift in their mindset, and they really have to become an entrepreneur. And for that, probably they need to let go or not be not put so much time
Yeah.
and money and effort in what they love, which is actually write code. So how we close this gap? So less companies fail. There is a massive failure all over the world. You know it, US, UK, everywhere you go. There is a lot of people talk about their success. Even in this podcast, people even might think that is easy because they say, "Oh, every 6 people that come to Harry's podcast how to make the 5 million, that millionaire in tech. So I'm going to take and I'm going to become a millionaire." So how easy it really is, Oliver?
So a few things. First, I talked about failure right at the start of the podcast, and what I really refer to as failure is data and iteration, right? And the biggest mistake that I see from any founder, right, is living and breathing in their echo chamber, right? And that's the most dangerous thing that you can do. Okay, what you want to be doing consistently is asking people's opinion of the product, right? And asking people's opinion that actually probably don't know anything about the product at all. Because that's the only person's opinion that should really matter, right? And you asked about mentoring and coaching. Yeah, it's absolutely vital, right? You need to be utilizing and expanding your own network as aggressively as humanly possible. And the question to that statement might be, well, why? And the answer is to gain real life information about the work and the product that you have, but the work that you're doing. Because without it, you're going to be working on the same thing and hitting your head against the same problem without actually going back to solving a problem, right? And without it, no one's going to use the business, whether it's a tech business or not. And look, you also asked. No, I'm not a coder. I don't come from a technical background. My experience is building and scaling businesses, and that's what I'm good at, and that's what my business, Loud Solutions, now does. Right, we work specifically with founders across a range of different industries, including tech, and support them from an early stage and allow them to get to a scalable business faster than they would if they weren't to utilize an organization like ours.
So then, Oliver, the other point that I want to stretch is when it comes to to you t- some tech entrepreneurs that have become with this podcast. I asked them before. I asked them if you had to start all over again, and they had told me, Harry, if I had to start all over again, the thing that I would put more attention would be culture. They say if I knew that this tech business is gonna take me 100 times more effort than what I thought, I will be paying more attention to these few people at the beginning that start this journey with me. I will be less conflicted and more embrace it. I will make sure that everybody knew that I bring to organization meet the culture, and we need to say that the culture when you're doing an startup an early stage is like, we don't sleep, let's do it. But again, with this business growth and you have 100 employees or 20 employees, even you have 50 employees, you cannot pretend that 50 people with them not sleeping, let's do it. So that culture that culture had to change. So but how important, because was one of your points at the beginning, how important do you think that is culture and the people? You say that is more important the people and the problem that they're solving actually than the technology that they are developing, and this is really powerful. Um, can you can you tell us a little bit more about
Yeah,
this?
yeah, love that. It's the only thing, right? So what is everyone really looking for? It's growth, right? It's what you're looking for. If you're at an early stage, you're looking for growth, and if you're a founder, you're looking to grow the business. That growth is irrelevant if it is not one of two things. One, sustainable, right? Because otherwise you're going to have to do it all over again, and you're going to realize it's 100 times harder than you thought it was, and at that point you're going to say, no way, I can't do this anymore, right? Or two, if you don't enjoy it. And what's culture? Well, culture's enjoyment, right? And it's
Mhm,
joy. And if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point,
mhm,
right? And so many people, over the last 10, 20 years have been white knuckling it, right? And have been gripping and pushing and grinding. Um, and then all of a sudden they get there, if they're one of the lucky ones that do manage to do that. And then 15, 20 years have gone past and they've realized that actually they've been miserable the whole time, and that what they were looking for and the success that they were hoping to get hasn't solved the problems that actually they already had in their business, in their lives, or in their businesses anyway, right? Culture, enjoyment, joyfulness at work is the only success measure that someone should be looking for, really, right? Sure, and look, that's easy perhaps for me to say, I guess, or it always feels like that as someone else. Um, and if you're driven by success in its Western term and money and $1 million, then great, absolutely. I'm not telling you not to do that. I'm telling you to go and do that. But I'm also telling you to stop and smell the roses every once in a
mhm.
while, because otherwise, what's
What's
the
the
point?
point? Yeah. And then and this is where the friction starts, Oliver, because the um there are two different words, right? Writing a code, software development, and then marketing, sales, product market fit, and these people have to be in the same room. These people have to be able to talk to themselves friendly. They need to love each other, but it's like they speak different languages. This is like one of them is speaking Russian, the other one is speaking Chinese. The sales and marketing said, listen, this is what the product that the client wants, and you have to do it in this way. And then you have on the other time the software developing team. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna do it this way because it's expensive and it costs money to do it. So you go out there and find another client and the one what we have because this is a startup and we don't have money and this go back and forward and that so what is the recipe, what is the recipe to have our harmony, to have a communication, who is right and who is wrong in this dynamic, yeah.
Yeah.
Because on the other hand, the marketing and sales, you know, if you go and you speak with everybody out there, everybody out there we're gonna tell you that they want the product in a different form adapted to it. However, if you ask to a lot of people, you will find out that there are few group of people, there are few people that are asking you that they want the product and they're willing to pay for it in a certain form. Now you need to communicate this to the development team, and the development team say, no way, I don't have money. If they don't buy as it is, you marketing and sales need to go and finding people that want it in the way it is because we don't have money. So how
Yeah.
we close this gap, how we solve this, and this have a big impact in culture. So who's right, who's wrong, who should be listened, how we mitigate this problem. What is the line? I hear that some tech founders have come to the podcast and say, Harry, in my tech company, I draw a line. Tech is tech, marketing and sales. Nobody goes inside the other word. they,
Yeah.
they communicate, but it's draw the line. I don't care how they're doing the software. They need to develop what we need. But when it comes to marketing and sales, they need to listen what we want and they need to give the piece of software how we want it because this is the client is from Spain and we have to deliver it to him how he wanted. So how we go about this dynamic, which is actually one of the main reasons that tech companies are not growing
Yeah.
fast enough and eventually failing.
Yeah. So what you're really referring to there, and the solution to that problem is communication,
Mm-hmm.
right? In its rawest form, and either a lack of communication or unclear communication. And I think all of those issues that you've highlighted would be mitigated through simple and direct communication. And look, this is an interesting one for me because this is the world that I live in, and my business helps early stage organizations find co-founders, for example, and hire hire heads of specific
Wow.
departments right at an early stage. And the data and information that we have is interesting. We thought that experience would be the biggest variable for a successful co-founder or early stage head of for success, right? Because you'd need an industry expert, right? Actually, what we found is personality type and an individual people fit is far more important for a successful organization, which is fascinating, right? Because actually we're saying, well, the experience doesn't necessarily matter as much, but if the four people, that have started this business all together and they love working with each other and they can communicate and each, brings a specific bit of value to the business, that's more impactful, right? Well, in that case, people need to start relooking at their business plans and relooking at who they've got around their equity board table. So communication is the direct answer, and finding co-founders and people at an early stage that you actually enjoy working with, because then it means those difficult conversations, whether it's from your tech team or your marketing team, is much more manageable. I'm not saying you can't have them. I'm not saying you shouldn't have difficult conversations. You should, but have difficult conversations with people that you're close with and that you want to build something with, because otherwise it gets frictionless.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.